It's the final
Bo to
of the
throw for
first
the
women's
bullseye
series
first.
event of the weekend. And it is Bo Greaves against Fallon Sherrock.
Outside.
One of those Titanic tussles you always look forward to.
25. Fallon's won the ball.
And Fallon has won the bull, which in contests that you expect to be close can often be a deciding factor. It was, in the end, in Fallon Sherrock's semi-final against Lisa Ashton. She was
100.
broken. She broke back. She managed to take it with an excellent final leg in the race to 5. But for a long while in that semi-final, it was
29.
going on throw. And sometimes winning the bull-up can make the difference. Will it make the difference against Bo Greaves, who has reached yet another Women's Series
60.
final? Starting to lose count of the amount of time she's been in this position. The amount of time she's come through
57.
in finals as well. It is a frightening prospect. But Fallon knows she's more than capable of beating Bo. She's done it plenty of times in the past. And here
83.
in her hometown of Milton Keynes, she'll be hoping to pick up the first Women's Series event of the weekend.
60.
Yeah, such an interesting head-to-head, this one, especially when you look at what they've produced against each other on the Women's Series, because overall, these two have
60.
met 34 times, and it's Bo Greaves who's come out on top in 25 of them. But on the Women's Series,
140.
it was Bo Greaves who won the first 8 meetings between these two, and Fallon Sherrock,
25.
she was getting close. She was putting herself in winning positions, but she could not get over the line against Bow and Arrow on the Women's Series. She eventually did, and then she went on a run of victories in this
59.
particular head-to-head, but it is Bo Greaves who has won the last 4 meetings between them on this particular circuit.
98.
And in all tournaments, the 22nd final between the pair of them. I needed another to stay on track for that 156.
130.
So Fallon wants 75 to hold her throw in the first leg of this final. She'll have a dart at tops.
55.
Fine margins in finals.
Game shot.
And there is evidence of that. You miss, I hit. Bo Greaves swoops in. 1-0. Break a throw.
I know it's talked about so
140.
much, but what Bo Greaves has managed to achieve on the Women's Series in a relative short space of time.
100.
You look at the numbers she produces, the titles she's amassed. It really
60.
is sensational, especially, yes, winning one tournament on a day, but these weekends are so brutal. When you play this event,
85.
which takes enough out of you, you then have to go again immediately.
Yeah, there's no puff of the cheeks relief when you've won a final, because these two will immediately go straight
60.
into Women's Series 14 right after this. There's no rest time. There's barely enough time to kind of use the facilities, if you will, and then
100.
you're back on the board again. And so to win consecutively and string wins together, it is hard to do. Some people might argue that, well, you've played more games, you've got more of a rhythm, you're in form, you want to keep playing, but not necessarily always the case, is it?
Well, and also you go from
60.
the elation and all the emotions of winning an event to then playing in a last 1-2-8 match again.
75.
Well, Bo missing double 16 for the second leg. Fallon Sherrock
82.
missing the treble 20 with her first start, which would have kept the 156 on. Still room to work with for Bo Greaves. A little readjustment on the ocket.
Game shot.
Plumb in the centre of it. 2-0 to Bow and Arrow. Hold of throw this time to go with the break she picked up in the opening leg.
$96.
Yeah, and just to emphasise that point we were making about the quick turnaround, well, the draw has already been done for the second event of the day, and Fallon Sherrock will be
140.
straight back on the board to play Catherine Menier. But for...
Fallon doesn't even know that yet.
Yeah.
We do, she doesn't.
But for Bo Greaves, it'll be
58.
Jane Biggs that she's taking on in the next event. And one thing I want to touch on in this final that we've not yet
95.
spoken about is the introduction of having markers, professional markers at this weekend's events, and something that I've spoken
180.
to the tournament directors and the organisers about, and they've said that that's the reason we're seeing some players here this weekend who
99.
maybe either haven't played before or are returning to Women's Series action. Is going to make such a huge impact on the women's game going forward. And I
100.
think it's something that will inspire women to get involved with going forward.
Yeah, it's the next step, isn't it? It's the evolution of
40.
the Women's Series, which we've seen go from strength to strength. This is another feather in the cap.
$51.
She's not happy with it. It was inside. It wasn't miles inside, but still not her best.
94.
Centre of the board was the target for Bo Greaves on that 1-2-7. Fallon back in the southwest area. Now over to the double four. Double two now.
Game shot.
Oh, she finds it. Missed doubles could have cost her. An important moment in this final, you feel, as Fallon Sherrock finds a leg. It's a hold, a throw. A double break in 3 legs would have been a bit of a nightmare.
93.
But one thing you
81.
can normally say about Bo Greaves, something like that, it doesn't really fester for too long, does it?
As long as she's not dropping it below the treble, that does fester.
Yeah.
That
60.
really does.
That'll be there until the end of time for Bo Greaves, that issue.
What's interesting with Bo, though, is when she does, particularly with the second dart, drop below the treble, she
55.
doesn't often switch
Yeah,
to 19.
yeah.
She likes to stay on the 20s, which for better or for worse might be something that she could look at in future. Will she stay there on this occasion? Yes, she will. Staying
60.
upstairs again. Maybe just might consider dropping down, but it doesn't seem to be something that she's interested in doing.
123.
And this time I think she might switch downstairs
134.
and does so to perfect effect there.
Do it more. Do it more. It works.
140.
But then again, Bo Greaves knows exactly what works for her. She's been so successful in the Women's Series.
98.
Yeah, she makes quite a lot of things work, really, doesn't she?
That's the thing with Bo Greaves. Sometimes you feel like she's playing within herself, which is a frightening thing. It's a great second dart from Fallon.
82.
Oh, can't find tops. A roll of the eyes. Now Bo wants tops. And double 10.
Game shot.
Game shot means it's 3-1 to Bo Greaves. And Fallon Sherrock misses darts at double to win a leg again. It's final going the way of Bow and Arrow.
58.
Yeah, neither of them producing the level that they're capable of in this one, but Sherrock will know that even when Bo isn't at her
100.
blistering best, chances like that, even if they are for 3-figure out shots, they kind of have to go. Just stopping herself in her
41.
tracks there. That wayward dart. Really infuriating her.
57. 96.
Yeah, first treble of the leg there for Fallon Sherrock. Might that just get her back on track?
100.
Yes, it will.
119. 56. 140.
Much better from Fallon Sherrock.
140.
But Bo bounces straight back. Double 16.
Game shot.
Needed that, Fallon Sherrock. 3-2. And well recovered in the leg as well when you consider the first few visits weren't ideal. Then bounced back with a 2 treble visit on the 19 segment, left herself in a good position.
140.
And capitalised. Back within 1.
Well, she really did take that leg by the scruff of the neck, didn't she? Because it just felt like we were
140.
meandering through it. It didn't really feel like a great deal was happening, but Fallon Sherrock taking it upon herself to make something happen. And maybe that the spark that this match needed at this point.
60. 57.
You can see Bo Greaves around that 87 mark. That's kind of been
95.
her running average over the course of 2025, really, on the Women's Series. And in this particular event, they're the numbers she's been running at very impressively.
60.
And just looking at the pair of them in terms of how they performed in this first Women's Series event of the day, very similar in ton plus scores, ton 40 scores,
97.
but in the 180 count, the maximum column, Bo Greaves has significantly more than Fallon. And sometimes that can be the difference, that power hitting.
78.
Well, she's missed the big number there and ends up leaving herself on double 13 if she's to return.
$77.
Another sarcastic smile from Fallon Sherrock. Will be a single dart for Bo Greaves.
Game shot.
A sense of deja vu for Bo Greaves there, finishing the leg on double 6, having missed double 13. It's 4-2, and once again, Fallon will be annoyed with herself, irritated internally that she's missed a couple of darts at double to make this final a little closer than it is right now.
Yeah, Bo left it, and Bo eventually tidied it up.
180.
And looking to get over the line as quickly as possible now.
100.
There's just never a hangover, is there, from the previous leg for Bo Greaves?
140.
Unable to make it back-to-back maximums. You always start to get excited, don't you?
60.
Well, you'd imagine she's going to leave herself very handsomely positioned after just 9 darts. And in a leg in which you know you win it to win the final,
95.
then you can't really ask yourself to deliver much more than that. 86 remaining after just 3 visits. Superb stuff from Bo Greaves.
100.
54 scored means double 16
Game shot and the match
for Bo Greaves. And the title of Women's Series 13 champion here in Milton Keynes.
The final dance of the day, then. It is the final of Women's Series 14 here at the Marshall Arena in Milton Keynes. Bo Greaves looking to go back-to-back and pick up Women's Series title number
It's Bo to throw for the
36
bullseye first.
of her career and number 8 of 2025. She continues to amaze
Bullseye.
and astonish us on the dartboard, but looking to stop her from reaching those
Outside.
numbers.
First dart
Lorraine
wins, Bo to throw
Winstanley,
first. Game
who
on.
came through a bit of an ordeal, actually, in her semi-final to set up this meeting. A topsy-turvy contest with plenty of ebbs and
140.
flows and missed darts at double, and I'm sure Lorraine won't need me to tell her that she'll need to up that level if she's to get the better of bow and arrow in this
41.
one. But she's looking for a second Women's Series title, her first coming back in 2022. This her first final this
100.
year, but you kind of feel, Niall, that even though winning these Women's Series events, we don't want to get too caught up in the match play race, because winning a Women's Series title in isolation is a huge achievement,
40.
and becoming one of very few players to have won multiple titles would be a really, really big moment in Lorraine Winstanley's career.
180.
But also, it just eases the pressure so significantly, doesn't it, on Lorraine Winstanley if she can add an extra £1,000 to her tally.
Well, you said Bo Greaves, can she go
41.
back-to-back? She's looking to do the double of victories on the Women's Series today. Lorraine Winstanley, if she won, would double her money, simply put, and would be huge. There is a bigger picture,
49.
no question. But Bo Greaves, I mean, what a start to the opening leg. I said earlier on, in these shorter formats, making a rapid start can stand you in such good stead. And this would just
99.
be a holder throw for Bo Greaves if she takes this double 16 out. But still, makes a statement, doesn't it? And that's a great guide. Double 8 she needs now. She's going to have to go above.
24.
Not the checkout she wanted. But she is down to 8 after 15 darts. Lorraine is way back on 280.
Yeah, and it just sets the tone, doesn't it, I think,
100.
for the match, the way Bo Greaves starts a contest.
No score.
She's bust her score. She will have another opportunity, but uncharacteristic from Bo Greaves. But that's what she's done at the start of the leg to give herself a chance. She's gone 140, ton, 180, and then 3 visits since, including just busting her score there.
140.
And she's still got another visit to the Oki, a 4th now, to take out the opening leg. Double 2 she needs. Oh, this could be a little bit mad. It is
No
mad.
score.
Madhouse for Bo Greaves.
And this time, Lorraine Winstanley is within striking distance. I think she was still in the mid-300s when Bo first got
Game
down
shot.
to a double. But this game, it never fails to amaze us, does it? Lorraine Winstanley, well, that's kind of what happened to her in her semi-final early on, because she was the one getting down to the double first, missing opportunities. Aileen de Graaf was punishing her.
180.
But now she's just pinched the pockets of Bo Greaves, who missed 8 darts at double to take the opener, looked in
60.
cruise control. Lorraine Winstanley, that was a leg she had no right to win. But how it's spurring her on
100.
now.
$100.
Well, that's it, isn't it, Bo Greaves? I mentioned a rapid start, ton 40, ton 80 to kick off the match. It's a tone setter, to use your words.
42.
But also, it doesn't give your opponent much of a sniff in terms of, okay, Bo's here to really dominate. That was just a little creak from Bo Greaves. And that might give
85.
Lorraine a little bit more confidence. And we've seen that because she's gone now 180, 100 in this second leg.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? You mentioned Bo Greaves with that little creak there, but
83.
you still have to be there to punish that. You still have to chip away and carve out these openings for yourself.
44.
And that's what Lorraine Winstanley is starting to do. And now it's she who has a bit of breathing space at the back end of this leg.
88. 100.
This for 2-0 for Lorraine Winstanley.
Game
And
shot.
it is 2-0 against Bo Greaves in a race to 5. There's still a long, long way to go. But what a start for Lorraine Winstanley. We've mentioned how important that semi-final was against Aileen de Graaf.
60.
How important it is if she wins this in the race for the match play and for her to become a multiple-time Women's Series winner. She would not have hoped for a better start than this.
41.
Yeah, and we mentioned that she needed to brush up on her finishing in this final, and that is exactly what she's done. 2 from 4
41.
at the start of this match.
Look to the heavens from Lorraine Winstanley. She's gone 41-22 to kick off this third leg. Bo Greaves yet
60.
to find a ton-plus score of her own. That's her second 60, sandwiched between a score of 41. So it's working in Winstanley's favour right now, because even the treble-less visits, this might be another one here. They aren't being
47.
as punished as they often are with Bo Greaves. That might change here.
45.
Uncharacteristic from bow and arrow.
$37.
Well, 2 trebles, nearly 3, all just slightly the wrong side of the wire for Lorraine. Bo's back in business here.
100.
Yeah, Lorraine Winstanley, just to add a bit more context, looking to become just the 8th player on the Women's Series to win multiple titles.
100.
Well, almost prophetic in the sense that the top 8 players in the race for the match play that make it
57.
through to Blackpool.
$100.
Yeah, of course, one of those multiple winners on the Women's Series, Mikuru Suzuki. You may be aware that we've not really
91.
spoken about her today. That's because she's taken a bit of time away from competing in these events. So, of course, we wish her the very best and sincerely hope that we see her back on the Women's Series very soon, because any tour
122.
with the miracle on is a better one.
Game shot.
Well, it was a languid leg, finished in 23 darts by Bo Greaves, but it was an important leg, a hold of throw as well. And that 2-leg lead for Lorraine halved by Bo Greaves, but she's making a much better start to this
140.
with a 140 to kick us off.
I know we say it so often, but Bo Greaves, because of
180.
darts like that, I just feel, even when you've got a lead, even when she's averaging in the high 60s or around the 70 mark, it still must feel horrible playing against her, because
121.
even then you're going, well, she's going to kick into gear at some point. She's going to start producing this power scoring sooner rather than later. So
85.
even if I do get an advantage, there's every opportunity that she can still blow me away.
It's so true, because that inadvertently applies pressure to yourself.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, oh, well, I better take advantage. and you feel that tension,
60.
and then you don't take advantage, and you think, oh no, and then Bo maybe doesn't get a high scoring visit again, and you think, oh, the pressure's doubled now. I need to do the same thing.
41.
Punish, capitalize, and it's really hard to shake yourself out of that. There's that saying to play the board rather than your opponent. But when you play against someone as imposing as Bo Greaves, it's very difficult to do that. It's an easy thing to say, not an easy thing to do. But that is a brilliant setup shot from Lorraine Winstanley.
Yeah, and even when you do take advantage,
140.
like you mentioned, unless you actually go on and win the match, I assume you feel that no advantage is big enough unless you've pinned that winning dart.
Game shot.
And Lorraine does pin the winning dart in that leg for a 14 darter. All credit to her. Bo below par and below the treble 20
45.
again there. And Lorraine must feel that this is a stupendous opportunity to get that second Women's Series title.
26.
But unable to capitalise on that trebleless visit from Bo.
100.
Who just doesn't look as comfortable as she has when we've seen her earlier today. And quite frankly, you can't really blame her. She's played in as many games today as she possibly could
23.
have. Every game in the opening event. Every game en route to another final. And, you know, we've spoken to many players who've had deep runs and maybe not
100.
won the first event, but then gone on to win the second. And they've spoken about how exhausted they are, how much pain they're in. She's gone all the way and won one event and she's in another final. I think sometimes because she makes it look so easy when she goes back to back or wins all 4 events in the weekend,
100.
you kind of normalize it and you kind of feel that, yeah, okay, it can be done, it should be done. We don't really credit enough how
140.
difficult it is.
We were saying before, weren't we, that because she won the final, the previous event today,
100.
straight in. The draw had already been
Yeah.
made for the first round of Women's Series 14 when Bo was playing in the final of Women's Series 13. And so really, apart from the 5 or 10 minutes she had between the semi and this game now, she's not really put the darts down for probably grand total of about 45 minutes across the day. Now that does play its part. I don't care who you are and how good you are at darts.
60.
You are going to feel tired playing darts this long through the day.
Game
But
shot.
tiredness doesn't mean anything to Bo Greaves, does it really sometimes? Double 8, and it's 3-2. It's a hold of throw, so Lorraine's still in the box seat for now. But there is that sense of Bo being on your tail, no question.
60.
Yeah, and you mentioned her getting to put her darts down for 5-10 minutes in between. She'd afforded herself that luxury just by
134.
being so good and recording a 5-1 win in next to no time. It's not even as if that was meant to be scheduled. She had to produce brilliance in order to get that luxury.
83. 140. 80.
That was in, then out, then in again, then out again, and on the floor, and now it's in her hand. I'm not sure how that happened.
60.
'Bo Greaves, to
100.
level the game, needs an absolute monster of a finish. Treble 19. Well, she's not going to go for it. Didn't need to, in all fairness. Treble 19 would have left the bullseye, would have leveled the match, but Lorraine, of course, no outshot. So sensible play, smart play, the percentage
97.
stuff from Bo Greaves.
Sensible but boring.
Well, she'll tell you there's nothing boring about winning.
And I wouldn't be able to argue with her because I don't know.
81.
Lovely stuff.
Game shot.
A pop finish. And just like that, we've got a level game. And the worrying thing for Winstanley is that Bo Greaves' level is on the up.
And on throw as
57.
well. Break. Consecutive legs taken out in double 8 for Bo Greaves.
Nine.
And it's not the first occasion where Bo Greaves has kicked off without a treble. And Winstanley just hasn't
140.
been able to put the pressure on.
Yeah, remember Lorraine was 2-0 up in this contest. This race to 5, the final of the Women's Series.
41.
Of course, another 2 Women's Series events tomorrow as well. So that race for the World Match Play will continue, but it's a big match, as was the semi-final for Winstanley.
100.
Every match against Bo Greaves feels like a big occasion, doesn't it?
Yeah, in terms of their head-to-head, Bo Greaves winning 17
28.
of their 20 matches, including 5 of the last 6. But I mean, that's just not a
180.
rarity, is it? Because of what she's producing again in this leg. On for a potential 13 darter. And again, it's just the speed with which she turns things around,
100.
because she just didn't look as though she had this level there at this time in the day, because, you know, we'd been mentioning how tired she must feel, how difficult it is, and then, oh, hang on, she's popping in like 5 visit darts, 5 visit legs. Great.
Yeah,
okay.
it's. I mean, could you call it a second wind, or is it a
100.
20-second wind? Because she's done it all day. And, you know, she had that little dip at the start of the game where she just couldn't find a treble for love nor money. And now there's a chance where she's not really missing it at all. Well, she's reeled off 3 legs on the spin, Bo Greaves. She needs just one more. It would be a breaker throw, but it would hand her back-to-back
100.
titles here at the Women's Series in Milton Keynes. Another max.
140.
Ton 40 for Greaves.
$100.
Really important, crucial, you might argue. Final dart in the treble 20. But Bo Greaves coming on strong here as well.
140.
She's nudged herself in front.
$81.
Well, she didn't take the 167 when she had the opportunity to, decided to lay up. Won't take the 161. Would have been a similar outshot downstairs for the bullseye to finish.
105.
Lorraine needs Shanghai to stay alive, because you imagine Bo Greaves will take out this 56. She has a dart at tops. And
Game
what a
shot.
dart it is for Lorraine Winstanley. We are level in the race to 5 in the final. That is huge from Winstanley. Bo Greaves was finally poised. She was ready to swoop in and win another Women's Series title, but Lorraine Winstanley had other ideas, and now it's one final
60.
leg of 501. Clutch from Winstanley. One dart at tops and nailed it.
60.
Well, Bo Greaves has the throw in this final leg,
140.
this deciding leg. Remember, Lorraine Winstanley has only ever won one women's series title. Beating Bo Greaves would mean she's a multiple-time winner on this particular
100.
tour. Bo Greaves has won plenty, many, several, including one just earlier today. There are
96.
further benefits and perks for Winstanley. She would double her money today if she beats Greaves. And that would certainly give her a leg up in the race for the match play next month in Blackpool. Still work to be done.
60. $57.
Oh, now that is
140.
pressure. That is pressure on Bo Greaves.
$120.
Well, how do you respond to pressure? By delivering with an unbelievable setup shot. So you feel this has to go for Lorraine Winstanley.
$95.
So Bo Greaves wants double 10 then to do the double here at the Women's Series. It's slightly blocked. She find a route through? Yes, she
Game shot
can.
on the match, Bo Greaves.
Milton Keynes belongs to Bo Greaves on this Saturday afternoon at the Women's Series. She won back-to-back yesterday.
Rianne to
She's
throw
looking
for the
to
balls on
treble up
first.
here with a third Women's Series title on the spin. But this is an intriguing contest because she's taking on
Outside.
Rianne O'Sullivan, who is making a late surge for the
Outside.
World Match Play places. Remember, after this weekend, that is that race done and dusted. The cutoff is tomorrow. And so if you are inside the top 8 in that World Match Play
Bullseye.
race, by tomorrow, you will be going to the Winter Gardens.
Outside. Bo's won the ball.
Brianne at the moment is outside, but if she beats Bo Greaves, that would mean £2,000 in prize money, which would put her just 200 quid outside of the top 8 with one more event to play. Abby, it is so finely
100.
poised, and that's what makes this final all the more exciting.
Yeah, really beautifully poised, isn't it? Coming into this one,
140.
when you look at their head-to-head record, yes, Bo Greaves has won 21 of their 26 meetings.
140.
But one really significant win for the Welsh woman did come in this very building
140.
in the final of Women's Series 6 back in 2023. That's when Rianne O'Sullivan won her Women's Series
60.
title. And looking right here, not only
43.
to aid her chances of making it back to the Winter Gardens, but also becoming just the 8th woman in history to have won multiple Women's Series titles.
135.
What an achievement that would be for her.
Well, we don't want to say it's win or bust for Rianne
121.
O'Sullivan because still £1,000 if she doesn't beat Bo Greaves here. But in terms of the race for the match play, it is pretty much win or bust because
Game shot.
she would be too far behind if she doesn't win, and she's already going to have to come from behind as Bo Greaves holds throw to put herself 1-0 in front. The scoring has been there from O'Sullivan today. The
60.
finishing has been there. The composure and the temperament and the quality all on display. She's going to have to go one more time here against Bo Greaves. And then again,
100.
if she does win against Bow and Arrow here in the final tournament of the weekend.
140.
Yeah, this Rianne's second Women's
97.
Series final of 2025. And Bo's third of the weekend.
60.
However, she has picked up 2 really big wins in 2025, Rianne O'Sullivan.
140.
Winning the Dutch Open, which was really massive for her. She was incredibly proud of that achievement back in February.
41.
And winning the Las Vegas Classic at the start of the year.
$82. $41.
No, back-to-back scores of 41. Leaves Rianne a distance away.
42.
Bo Greaves was hoping that it didn't matter.
$99.
Tops for Bo Greaves and 2-0. Double 10.
30.
So Rianne O'Sullivan does have an opportunity. She left herself on a bogey score. Now she's got 60. Oh, that's not a great dart. She's going to have to burn one. And she's missed twice the big number. And that is an absolute
28.
disaster for O'Sullivan.
Yeah, made a real mess of that, Rianne O'Sullivan. Should have had 2 darts at double. Didn't even get 1.
No score.
But she's going to get more. We saw this at the back end of one of Bo's matches earlier, didn't we? Phenomenal
shot.
in the scoring phase. But those misses starting to creep in.
Off the hook is how I would describe that from an
100.
O'Sullivan perspective. She can't let that happen again in this final.
40.
You do wonder, though, how much things have changed for Rianne O'Sullivan over the course of this weekend, because she came into it
100.
and we were kind of including her in the race, but it was mainly Aileen de Graaf and Angela Kirkwood we were focusing on.
60.
At the start of the weekend, Rianne O'Sullivan was on £4,700. And it was Lorraine Winstanley on 6,400 in 8th place.
57.
And it would be interesting to hear, wouldn't it, how much she was thinking about that at the start of the weekend and how much that feeling has intensified
28.
over the course of today. And I imagine it changes everything.
Precisely, because now it's Kirsi Vinikainen who's trembling at the prospect of O'Sullivan
100.
winning this final against Bo Greaves. She will be firmly in the Greaves camp, will the Finn, because she's the one
100.
right on the precipice in 8th place in the race for the match play. O'Sullivan would be hot on her heels. Bo Greaves is in red hot form herself. Of course she is. 144. Authoritative from Bo Greaves. She put her foot down with the 144. She's back in front.
We've spoken so much about her scoring power today, Bo Greaves, and the timely maximums that she's found, but there have been some mammoth finishes in there, haven't there? Gigantic outshots.
81.
There's been a 1-2-1, a 1-2-4. That 1-4-4, of course, missed double 7 for a 1-2-2 as well.
Yeah, that 1-2-4 on the bull,
60.
where she swept into a 3-0 advantage over Lorraine Hyde earlier on.
81.
For me, the most impressive, probably matched by that 1-4-4 we just saw.
Well, I'm obviously going to pick the 1-2-1 because it's a Johnny Clayton finish. The draw has
81.
been complete for the final event of the weekend. As we've mentioned previously, it is such a brutal weekend of darts for these
93.
players, especially when you make it to the latter stages and to the final of the first event. And Bo Greaves, a really tasty opening match, actually, taking on Steffi
139.
Luke, and that'll be in the last 64.
Really good setup play from Rianne O'Sullivan. But Bo Greaves is on.
Game
Bo
shot.
Greaves is on. She is on fire. Well, what a superb setup shot from O'Sullivan, who was poised and ready. Bo Greaves said, no, you're not having another visit to the board. Even her opponent can
100.
appreciate the skill of Bo Greaves.
85.
A 1-4-4, a 1-1-4, and a 3-1 lead.
$100.
It's incredible, isn't it?
76.
The way she just turns the screw, Bo Greaves.
I just wonder with Rhian O'Sullivan, who
44.
all day has been trying to get herself into this position, a position in which she can win to get up the standings for the race for the world match play. Is it almost a case of, not that she feels that it's job done,
140.
but she's got to this position of being in the final, use so much energy, mental energy as well,
6.
to get to this point that it might simply just be a bridge too far.
She's not playing badly in this match, is she? But Bo Greaves,
Game
for a
shot.
third consecutive ton-plus out, a 1-4-4 to go 2-1 up, a 1-1-4 in the next leg, and now a 1-1-7 to add to the collection of
135.
combination finishes, and to put her on the brink of victory and a 37th Women's Series title. You can't help but chuckle. It's just ludicrous.
It's astonishing.
And as I was saying, Rhian O'Sullivan hasn't done a great deal wrong in this match.
60.
Or all day. I was just saying, 'cause maybe she used the bulk of her mental energy getting to the final, but if Bo Greaves is just going to keep taking out
100.
ton-plus finishes, there's not really a great deal you can do about it.
55.
And so there won't be any resignation from Rhian, but it will certainly be a case of, well, I did all I could. And what you don't want as a player in any sport is to feel that you didn't operate at your best. You didn't give yourself the best chance. You simply cannot say that about O'Sullivan. She's given herself opportunities. But Bo Greaves has just been too good. And that was the case yesterday, and it looks like it could well be the case again today.
40.
Well, she's won all 4 of her legs in 15 darts, Bo Greaves. So it really does need to be
55.
spectacular to stop her. She's not going to win this one in 15. It's one thing I can guarantee you.
59.
But there's only been one of those legs where Rhian O'Sullivan hasn't been on a finish
26.
of some sort.
$60. $58.
Well, surely she can't do it again. Surely she can. She might.
97.
She nearly did. Imagine that, a 1-2-2 to go with the collection to win the final.
Game
But
shot.
Rhian keeps her head above water as the tide of Bo Greaves sweeps in. O'Sullivan is still swimming, just about.
But back comes Bo with another maximum to kickstart what she hopes
90.
will be the last leg of this contest.
$140. $85. 100.
That's good from Bo Greaves. That's how you know Bo Greaves is playing well and she's confident. She's dropped below the treble 20, something she despises. And I tell you what, every dart player despises what we've just seen as well.
5.
5 scored. It should have been a whole lot more. As unfortunate as you can get. But Bo Greaves still going for it.
61.
Still managing to score 100 despite dropping that first dart below the treble. Normally she would switch, but she persevered, found her way through.
45.
One match dart has come and gone for Bo Greaves. But
Game
she
shot and a
gets it
match.
with the second.
Greaves.
Another sparkling display. Brilliance from Bo Greaves yet again to pick up her 37th Women's Series title. One final dance on the Women's Series this weekend, and it sees two players who have enjoyed dominant spells on this circuit go head-to-head. Lisa
And it's
Ashton
Bo to throw for the ball first.
following the Women's Series inception. Well, she was the player, wasn't she,
25.
who was leading the way in these events.
25. Throw
But
again.
now it is very much her opponent, Bo Greaves, who continues
Outside.
to astonish and astound us with the arrows that she produces.
25. Second dart wins. Bo to throw
Mesmerising
first. Game
yet
on.
again in the semi-final against Fallon Sherrock, an average just shy of a ton, and getting the better of the Queen of the Palace 5-2,
59.
dropping just 4 legs en route to this stage. But she's looking, Niall, to do something that she has
134.
done 3 times before, and that is win all 4 events on the same weekend, which is just astonishing.
41.
8 grand in prize money to pocket as well if she does do that. And we've just seen something that she doesn't do very often, which
60.
is not hit a big treble score in her first visit of the match.
Yeah, do not write off Lisa Ashton, though. It is not a foregone conclusion
180.
that Bo Greaves will go on and take the title. It is a foregone conclusion that she's going to do that quite a lot.
59.
Panic over. We'll leave it to the second visit instead, or the third. That's what Bo Greaves has built the foundation of her
60.
success this weekend on. Getting into an advantage early doors and making it too difficult for her opponent to come back in any way, shape or form. Now, when
72.
it comes to comebacks, Lisa Ashton has had a couple this weekend. A couple of really impressive ones.
80 scored. 105.
And you mentioned the fact that Bo's only dropped 4 legs so far in this particular
140.
event. When you consider she's played the likes of Vicky Proom and Gemma Hayter and Fallon Sherrock, some really talented names,
Game shot.
that makes it even more impressive. And darts like that is the reason why she moves into the
45.
advantage in this final.
Yeah, as for Lisa Ashton, though, the 4-time world champ, a hugely significant game for her as well, because
100.
when you look at the main order of merit, we focused a lot, of course, on the match play race this weekend, but you look at the main order of merit, if she goes on
60.
to take this title, she will move to within £400 of Fallon Sherrock, who currently occupies second spot, and the significance of
180.
that as Bo Greaves piles in another maximum. We said there'd be plenty of that. The significance
60.
of Lisa Ashton closing that gap, of course. The top 2 players from the Women's Series Order of Merit qualify for the World
83.
Championship at Ali Pali.
$140. $98. $58. Game shot.
A 13-dart leg for Bo Greaves to double her lead in this final. She really does flourish, doesn't she?
81.
Even this late on in the day, after 2 grueling days of darting action.
100.
Still able to produce the highest
60.
level that we've seen this weekend.
Yeah, and just looking across the scoring statistics for this
60.
event, interestingly enough, Lisa actually has more scores of 100 plus. But it's in the ton 40 and ton 80 count, which Bo Greaves comes
84.
into her own. Double the amount of scores of 140 or more before this match. It's the 10 180s across the event.
60.
5 of them came in one match.
$140. 100.
She set it up beautifully.
120.
Couldn't finish it off. That would have been some way to race into a 3-leg advantage. She's back on double 8 though.
97. Game shot.
Brilliant. Brilliant Bo Greaves. To still be as comprehensive and as dominant against
60.
someone of Lisa Ashton's quality. She did it against Gemma Hayter, beat her 4-0. Swept aside Sherrock.
57.
Absolute giant of a weekend.
140. 59.
Well, this is a rarity, isn't it?
42. 81.
Yeah, and it's almost in keeping with what we've been saying about Bo Greaves, in which that she starts really quickly. She's into a 3-0 lead. She's hitting maximums, ton 40s.
80.
But then towards the end of the games, once she's settled in, she does just dip ever so slightly. It's the highest score so far in this particular leg of 81.
60.
But she's given herself the room, hasn't she? She's afforded herself the opportunity to have an off-leg scoring-wise.
92.
The problem is that one day might not quite be enough for her. But it's hard to see that day ever coming when she's in
60.
this sort of form generally across the board.
$42.
Well, this is what happened in the semi-final. Bo
Yeah.
Greaves was in front, and Fallon Sherrock managed to pinch a couple of legs in the middle of the contest,
45.
and then Bo Greaves just turned it on, a couple of ton-plus outshots, and just blitzed Fallon in the end in the semi-final. Another one at double 16,
Game
and it's
shot.
in. And there is Lisa Ashton's first leg of the final.
Yeah, and a lot of it, you just feel, don't you, watching Bo Greaves at the moment and the way that she's playing, everything is down to her and the way she's performing. If she
140.
continues to pile in these big trebles, she's going to take control of it. It kind of takes her to take her
43.
foot off the gas a little bit at the moment to allow opponents in.
And that's normally something we say about Lisa Ashton, whether she's playing against.
60. 46.
Well, Bo knows a couple of these. Put her in a great
140.
position. To move within one, Bo Greaves has 161.
125.
It's a better visit from Ashton.
$93. 100.
for double. And she
Game
gets
shot.
it. If you're holding throw in 15 darts or fewer, you are asking a lot of your opponent to break you.
59.
Need to be almost flawless.
$58. 100. 140. 80. 46. 26. 43. 40.
'Bo's back in business after a bit of a trudgy middle to this leg.
100. 95.
114 points left for Bo Greaves in the title.
$74.
It's a match start that's come and gone for Greaves. Ashton to stay alive.
77.
She's missed her opportunity, so it's back to Bo, who's looking at tops. And now double 10.
Game shot on the match.
Bo Greaves, for the 4th time in her rambunctious young career, takes it all in a women's series weekend.